If you've been through the pre-WordPress 2.7 compatible option editing videos, or have ever done option editing using what is considered the old way, the deprecated way, you'll find that the new methodology introduced in 2.7 will make your life easier and your code cleaner. Basically, instead of doing all these post checks and creating nonces ourselves, we're essentially going to register our options with WordPress and let it handle all of the nonsense. So let's take a look at our CC comment plugin. And right now, we're submitting using the WP nonce field and the check admin refer. Well, instead, we're going to do it using the new settings methodology. So in order for that to work, we need to register whatever settings are available for the plugin. So let's create a function. We'll call it ccom_init because it's essentially just going to initialize our application. And then what we're going to do in here is we're going to use this special function called register setting. And it's going to take essentially the group of setting that we want to register under, and then the specific setting we want to register. So you may have multiple ones in a single group, and allows you to essentially organize them how you want to. So we'll call this group ccom_options. And the setting we're registering is ccom_cc_email. Notice that's the same name as the option we were using before, and it's actually storing it in the same place. In order for this function to run, we need to register it with a hook. So we're going to use the admin init hook. Add action, admin init. We're going to call on quotes ccom_init. That will then run this function, which will register our options. Now, there's some things we need to do to make our form page work correctly. The first thing, let's copy our settings name and make sure that anywhere where we're referring to that data, we use that information. So the ID is going to correspond to the settings name. That's important. Then we can erase the processing because WordPress is now going to handle the form submission for us because we're going to submit it to the options page at options.php. We can keep the get option the same because we're actually getting the same thing. And everything else will basically work. We no longer need to introduce nonces, but we do need to put a call to the settings fields option. And this method is going to output nonces and everything for an entire group. So notice this is the group that we're referring to. So you might have a number of fields that you're grouping together, and you only have to run this function once. So by using the settings field, we can go back to our WordPress admin. We can change this to whatever we want to and submit it just like we did before. And it will save the settings. And if you look in the source, notice it's submitting to options PHP. And notice that it's generating this nonce information. So that's automatically happening because we're running that settings field function. So as you can see, this is a much cleaner and easier way to do it. So if you're developing a plugin options page currently and don't need to worry about compatibility with WordPress 2.7 prior to, then it's better to use this API. The old method is deprecated, which means it's no longer supported, and at some point they may remove it from the WordPress code. In addition, you can call, if you want to, a register setting function that allows you to specify a function that you can use to do any sort of sanitizing of the data before you submit it to the options. So all in all, this is a much cleaner and better way for saving your options in the WordPress database.